All right, welcome back everybody. My name is Nick. This is Swiftful Thinking, and this is going to be a quick video on the safe area insets. So previously I've covered the safe area and how we can ignore or not ignore the safe area. This is kind of along the same lines, but it is not replacing that. We still need to do that in our code. This is more for if we have a view or a text or a button that we purposely want to put in the safe area, we can use this new modifier. I don't think this is super common. I haven't really used it much in apps, but I wanted to show it to you guys, get it in your toolbox, so at least you know it's there in case you want to use it. All right, a relatively quick video here, just something I want to show you guys. I don't use it that often, but it is kind of cool. Nice little update in iOS 16. Let's right click the navigator, create a new file. This will be a SwiftUI view. I'm going to call this SafeAreaInset Bootcamp. Click create. Now, if you did follow this bootcamp, of course, you know that I did a whole entire video on how to use the safe area in SwiftUI. That is still applicable. This is not replacing that. We still need to manage the safe area in that same exact way. This, however, allows us to put a little bit of code, some UI, inside that safe area if we want to. So it's a little tricky to work with, and I'm honestly not a fan of how tricky it is, but let's take a look at a couple quick examples here. So I'm going to do a navigation stack, open the brackets. Let's put in maybe a list here, and I'm just going to go from 0 to less than 10, and let's just put some rectangles on the screen. Let's give it a height of maybe, I don't know. What's a good height, guys? 300? Sure. And there we go. All right, so we have this nice basic UI that we can scroll. Let's also add in a nav title here of maybe, let's call it SafeAreaInsets. And the problem in question is basically like, how do we put something in the safe area at the bottom here? Now, there are existing ways to do this, right? I could do like an overlay. And maybe I put in like a text here that says, hi, let's give it a background color.yellow. And maybe I align that overlay to the bottom, right? So now I am at the bottom. Let's do a max frame of max width, infinity. I do have it in the safe area and it's over the bottom. So that actually does work, right? So this is not really solving a problem that was unsolvable before. But a new easy way to do this is to call the SafeAreaInset. And we can give it an edge. The edge, of course, is going to be the bottom. The alignment, let's just keep it as center for a second. Spacing doesn't matter because we're just going to put one item for now, and content. So I'm going to take this high, I'm just going to put it in here, uncommented out, and now we have the exact same UI. I guess this is maybe going to be a little more dynamic on different devices, but that is just the newer way to do it, basically. I have not used this very often in apps because it's not super common, but let's just play around with it a little bit before we end this video. So maybe I get rid of the max frame here. We can see that it's aligned to the center. I could also align it to maybe the leading edge. So now it's over here. So this could be like, if you want to do like a hovering button here, maybe you do like some padding and and maybe there's some padding before it as well, just so it's a little bit bigger. And maybe you clip shape it into a circle. Now you have like a hover button on the bottom left corner. We could also do trailing, so it's in the bottom right corner. One thing that is unique to the SafeAreaInsets is that we can do the top. So the top's going to look a little different with the navigation title here. So it's actually like right below the navigation title. So this could be cool if you wanted to do some sort of like hover as the user scrolls. I think at the top, maybe a little more common use case would be like a pinned header. So if you use the lazy V stacks, you have the option to pin the headers, but it's kind of like automatically pins. So we could do something like this where we maybe, let's see, add in just like a yellow bar at the top. So when the user scrolls, now we have that high just pinning to the top, right? Something that's maybe a little bit unique. We can call it maybe .edges ignoring safe area .bottom, so it's not ignoring the top. And then, we have just this nice pinned header here. It looks a little funky when this scrolls down. I'm not a huge fan of that UI, but now you know at least that you can do this. Maybe you put some filters here. Maybe it's just some sort of hovering title that's next to the safe area. Of course, if I change the nav title here, maybe I wanted to do like a nav bar display inline. Now I have that like pinned header just like always at the top, which is kind of cool. Yeah, so again, that's basically all we're covering in this video. This is not anything that couldn't be done without the SafeAreaInsets. Like you could draw overlays, you could draw backgrounds, but when you're doing those overlays, you have to kind of manage the safe area yourself. You have to understand whether or not you're in the safe area or not, whether you're ignoring it or not. And here we can just throw it into the top or the bottom and call it a day, which is yet another convenience modifier for SwiftUI developers. All right, maybe you're not going to use this, but at least now you know how to use it. So thank you guys for watching. As always, I'm Nick. This is Swiftful Thinking, and I'll see you in the next video.